Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by The Plain Truth, Ranty Flat Earth, Jose and Arwin. Good to have you all. This is a conspiracy. I can sense it. I can smell it. Ranty's been talking to you. I can sit it out longer than you can. I've got my kid to play with. If you want to play silly games. Who's going to be the first to break the silence and laugh? I know, I've just got no sound from you guys, I think. No, I definitely have got no sound. Okay, that's a bit of an issue. Hopefully the audience has got sound. Let's have a look.
It's got sound.
Hello,
There we go,
audience.
there we go.
Yeah, hello, YouTube.
It's alright, it's all good. All figured out. My total bad professionalism. Half the desk was covered and the fader was down. Just one of those things. Hello, good to have you.
It's a
G'day.
rookie mistake.
It's just one of those. The fader was right down, so some clever dick will probably dial into the audio and boost you right up to hear you all saying, "You idiot!" Anyway, I'll try that once more. Let's pretend that didn't happen. So, we are joined by The Plain Truth, Ranty Flat Earth, Jose and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Hello,
Good to
hello,
be
hello.
here.
What?
Good afternoon.
And relax. Excellent. Excellent start. And hello to everybody in the chat. So, how's it going? We won't launch straight into housekeeping. We will do it though. Let's just see how you all are first.
Doing great.
It's a beautiful day in
It
Maryland.
feels good.
The
Just got
weather's
off work.
shitty here, but
I just got off work, very tired. Get a dose of the Flat Earth Debate before going to sleep later.
Of course, you'll be heading off to bed after this, won't you, Jose?
yeah. I'm considering doing a pre-show for Flat Earth Debate.
A freak
Call
show.
it Good Morning Flat Earth. So, like
Math Powerland
the
will
hour
be
before Flat Earth
criticising you for
Debate
stealing his title.
Sorry?
Math Powerland will have you for stealing his title if you call it Good Morning Flat Earth.
Oh, really?
Well, that's the name of his show with his wife, so yeah.
Oh, when is that?
And how's Ranty?
He's good.
Bargum. It's great.
Yeah.
I smell some awesome footage from Ranty today. I don't know. I can smell it from a mile away. Oh no, that's the breakfast place I'm driving by here.
And Travis, how are you? You all good? I saw your moon
I'm good, I'm good.
stream.
Got a nice sunrise this morning.
And the morning star.
Yeah, Venus was incredible.
Yeah, about these little last videos that we've been doing, the angle of attack. I think I've been the one more interactive with the Glovers. I mean, Discord and stuff on trying to talk about this phenomena because I know many people have put the videos up, but they don't interact too much with the Glovers. I just jump in there and I get slaughtered. They think I'm getting slaughtered by them, and I'm just cracking up because they cannot figure it out and they're bleeding. Their butt hurts.
I'm gonna call the show Flat Earth Early Bird then.
Flat Earth what?
Early Bird.
Your show?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Just like for people to get in the mood for the debates.
So is this gonna be a collaboration between Arwin, Nathan, and T-Mars? Arwin with the pre-show, Nathan with the main show, and then T-Mars with the after show. Wow.
I hope so.
Why not? And I seem to be, well, in my experience, at my best when it's early. So we'll see where it goes. I'm gonna try tomorrow. And so yeah, be there on Skype and you'll get an invite. It's not gonna be open to the public yet.
Excellent.
Is the Rumpus welcome?
Nah. Maybe in chat. We'll see how he acts. You know, because yeah, we're not gonna be like typically in the debates just smashing them up. It's more like one of those morning shows. Just talk about what's going on and what
So
you're
exactly
dealing
like
with
Math's
materials.
show then.
Gossiping.
Literally.
Gossiping like
yeah,
like
sure,
church ladies.
gossip. Why not?
Like church ladies, yeah.
Okay, right, let's do a bit of housekeeping. I was going to use Jose's talk of angle of attack to segue into the first question anyway, so any signs of curvature?
Ooh,
Nope.
Nah.
Nope.
Did I
there's a
Ranty
lot
say
of
yes?
signs of obstruction denial though these days.
Did I hear
become
you
more
say yes,
blatant.
Ranty?
Say again.
Did you say yes?
I didn't say yes, no.
You didn't say yes, no? Any signs of axial rotation?
Nope.
Oh no.
Not of the Earth-based variety.
Unless you go with Miles Davis' new video, I guess.
God.
I don't watch Miles Davis. What's he done?
Oh, that guy just straight out denied diffraction. Just nope, doesn't exist.
Can you lay it on us, Travis, or...?
Well, he just has a demonstration of objects in the distance. He's got some bridges and he's got some mountain ranges in the back. He goes through his orthographic view, and I've been going back and forth with him in his on his channel a little bit, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's the same orthographic perspectival contrast that I just don't think it's just. Yeah, I don't even know what to say.
Fair enough. If it's fallacious, we'll move on. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container? And hello to Chocolate Sane and Chris.
Hello.
So,
Good morning.
no.
Good morning. No,
Never.
any of that.
Well, I'll say no, but the bowlers they say gravity. That was as for yesterday in the afternoon.
Nah, but
I
it still
caught
doesn't work.
the tail end of the conversation, M. Scott Dish, with somebody else, and I jump in and I said like, so therefore we don't need a container, gravity. And they kept continue talking. I go like, hold on. So did I just interrupt it and get to the conclusion of the gas pressure next to a vacuum without a container, they go like, yeah, in simple words, yes, it's gravity. Gravity is the container.
Well, I'm hearing a lot about gravity. Hey, flat Earth vegan guy. Any evidence or any scientific evidence of gravity?
Nope.
Exactly.
No, but
No,
still
still
there
just
is
a
the
religious
gradient,
belief.
but that's a fallacious reasoning to assume that that could be next to a vacuum, or that would automatically end up in a vacuum. It's just completely unrealistic.
Fair enough. What about the distance to the sun?
We'll have none of that.
I preferred your other answer. I know you get bored of
There
saying
is
it
no
every day.
distance to the sun.
Yeah, well, there is no distance to the sun. You know, how are you supposed to triangulate something? If you try and walk around it, it moves its physical location. Because it doesn't have a physical location.
Yeah.
You have to ask, what is the sun to begin with?
It's just an
Yeah.
optical phenomena. What matters is the daylight direction.
So is there any
If there's a
evidence
row,
of the
if there's a
distance to
row
the
of
sun?
10 people, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I cut you off, Jose. Go ahead.
If I'm watching the sunset and then to the left of me there are 5 people, and to the right is there's 5 people looking at the sunset. So how am I going to triangulate in the position where I see the sunset, or where they see the sunset to themselves? Because then if I measure it by myself, that's going to be the measurement of my personal, personal sun, and then I can measure it using them for the triangulation. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. No, but you cannot triangulate the sun.
This is something that Jaren's covered recently. Shout out to the Mind of God for the super chat. Thank you very much indeed. Smash that super chat if you want to support the channel. Jaren covered it maybe 6 months ago, and he postulated the idea of a personal dome. Now, most of us will be familiar with the idea of having a periphery to our vision, a circle that we can see in, whereas Jaren sort of extrapolated that out into a dome shape in terms of what you observe in the skies as well. And when he put it forward like that, I really like the idea. Now, although I haven't watched the clip that he's taken from the most recent Globebusters, he snipped out a section presumably talking about just that. I didn't catch it live. But like I say, I had heard the idea that he put forward fairly concisely when he first put it forward on a video that was fully edited anyway. So yeah, I can kind of relate to that. Now, I hope lots of people don't get triggered when we say the word dome. It's just a metaphor for how it's describing the way your vision works in a given place. And when you try and directly relate that to what you see or observe of this great light in the sky, you can't give a distance to something that isn't physically triangulatable, if that's the right word.
Well, that's at the edge of your vision, perhaps? Like the globe of the heavens? Like I've been saying for last year?
Well, they just assert 93 million miles based on mathematics and extrapolations and presuppositions, and that simply isn't good enough. Like we would jest, no one's taken a tape measure to the thing, and it starts with the presupposition, the main and ever-running constant presupposition of a radius value to Earth as a ball. So, I mean, it's completely nonsensical, the assertions made in terms of the heliocentric ideas of what sun actually is and the distance to it. But there we go. Sorry, Owen, go ahead.
No, sorry, I'm just saying that you can't measure something you can't approach. And just because it is at a set distance optically to the observer, the edge of vision, and that's where I think that these stars and the daylight, basically, or the sun, all these apparent disks and points of light are at the edge of vision, which automatically would make it kind of a globe, like naturally, because it surrounds us. But yeah,
Well, I'm like
it comes down to
30,
the same thing. It's just that. It's an
I'm 30
optical
seconds away
phenomenon.
from the train track. I'm about to stand in front of it. Should I turn on the camera and take a look at the train track, a little bit of
Yeah,
perspective?
awesome. Why not? I'll round out housekeeping
All
while
right,
you're
one
doing
second.
it. So, any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? Anybody? Anybody at all?
No.
Nope.
No?
Nah.
What about the holy R value, the presupposition of Earth radius. Any evidence of the R value, gentlemen?
Negative.
No?
The R
Nope.
value
Anybody
We
exists.
need
sure?
a sphere for that.
Nope, nope, nope.
You're
It
up,
exists
Jose.
in math.
All right, I'm up.
Did you hear you got a mention on Raw? Jose?
Sorry, what was that?
You got a mention. You were discussed by DITRH and Jeranism on Monday Night Raw. Did you know?
Wow, awesome. I didn't know it.
While you're looking at that, I'm going to do a few shouts out. So, shout out to Andy C, Robert Burton, Trillin. My screen's a bit far away and I'm a bit fuzzy today. In case I misread anything, my bad. Daz, good to have you. You, nice to see you. FE Viking, hello. Rune Thornton, nice to see you. Sean Hutton, thanks for being here. Billy Wazza, good to see you, my friend. Flat Russ, hello. Jonathan Doherty, hello. Robert, good to see you. Doot. Okie dokie, nice to have you in the chat room. Rambo Jambo. And is it Unsalted? 667. Hello. Juan Carlos. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Peanuts Clark. Lamal. Good to see you. Wow, chat's going really fast. The reason I've done that is because according to my stats, there are 20 people watching. There's something screwy with the YouTube numbers today. So I published a video before the show started and it had 12 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down. And no views. It was like, what? But yeah, I think the viewing figures are somehow
Are you seeing
screwed
this?
today.
Are you seeing the camera?
Hey, Earth Flattener, good to have you.
Morning. Hi. Good.
Flat
you
Earth
seeing my
Audio.
view?
Oh, I've got to do a shout out to Flat Earth Audio. Flat Earth Audio has been like my guardian angel over the last week. So he carelessly and foolishly offered to help me out doing some motion tracking. So he motion tracked, check it out. Motion tracked my similar thing to what Jose is doing right now, just raising and lowering on a flat surface. And he said, if you ever need anything else doing, about 12 videos later, hi, me again. Hi, Flat Earth Audio. Any chance you can motion track this for me? So I've been kind of a bit guilty, but yeah, a big shout out to Flat Earth Audio. He really has been an absolute superstar. Anybody else in the chat that I didn't say hello to?
What makes you guys think that railroad tracks are level? They're bendy, just like floors, just like water. Everything is bendy, guys. Everything.
Trains don't like inclines. They carefully calculate the rail network to be as flat as possible, to the degree where they'll blast out mountains and dig tunnels to keep it as flat as possible.
The
Yes,
tracks
they can
are
cope
just
with-
so slightly curved you couldn't tell.
Maybe, but ultimately speaking, they don't want to be going up vast gradients. Trains like to be flat. Hello, Billy? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good to have you. Oh, it's Warren. Good to have you, Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've got a bit of
Hey,
echo.
Nathan.
Someone muted you just to stop that. Not that I can hear it. I can't hardly hear anything.
Is that better?
I don't know. I'm going on what the people in the chat are saying.
Yeah.
In the Hangout,
Yeah,
rather.
it's better. Hey, Nathan, I'd like to talk about the Miles Davis video that Travis mentioned earlier. We can.
Go ahead, be my guest.
So I just think it's important because he put this video out, I don't know, a day or two ago, or I guess yesterday, and he made it, be a really big deal, saying it's an impossible image if Earth is flat. And he even goes so far as to make one of these stupid comments about, if anyone can prove me wrong, I will delete all my video content and become a flat earther. So last night I did a little test of my own, and if I can share my screen real fast, I'll just show how easily it was to disprove Miles Davis picture. So let me know if you're showing me here.
Yeah, you're up. You've just got the Hangout
Very
on.
good.
At the
All right, so
moment. There we go.
So basically, this is a video, but this is the image that he's talking about. So what he's saying is,
Sorry,
his
just before you
camera,
start,
and
sorry to interrupt. I don't want to interrupt you halfway through. Can you make it full screen?
Sorry, make what full screen? The
The
video?
video that you've got up, just make that. There you go. Perfect.
So what he's saying is, and then his camera is zoomed way in. So he's like, from this bridge, he's about 24 miles or so. I don't know how many kilometers that is, 40 kilometers. And then from the bridge to these mountains is about another, from the bridge to the mountains is another 25 miles or almost 40 kilometers. So from the camera all the way to the mountains is about 90 kilometers. And he says this later in the video, but so his point is the camera is at 210 meters. The bridge tower height, so the top of the bridge tower here is 210 meters. Height of hills, back here, I call them mountains, height of hills over 500 meters. So he's saying this is impossible if it's flat, right? So how can the hills be lower than his viewing angle, I guess, or the height that he's at, which is lower than the 500 meters. Now, we all already know it's perspective. And I just simply last night, and and this is a 30-minute video, and he goes on, and he does, you know, he tells you here's his camera height to the bridge post to the hills, right? So 45 kilometers to 90 kilometers. And then he does his Coke can test where he says, oh, but you know, if the camera's at the height of the top of the post, it should be level all the way across. And so therefore, you know, it doesn't ever get smaller. Well, and then he goes on, and I mean, I don't need to. So all I did last night is I set up a similar test where I took, these are like cleaning bottles or something. I had like 6 of them. So from this cleaning bottle to the last cleaning bottle, it's about 5 feet. And then what I had is I had a large one of those big popcorn. It's got like 3 different kind of popcorn in it, cans, right? So it's larger and taller than the cleaning bottle. Now this can from the last cleaning bottle is about another 3 or maybe 4 feet away. So from this first one to this can, it's about 7 to 8 feet, I'll say. Now I also drew a 60 pixel line from the top of the can to the bottom of the last bottle. Now on the right, the only change, the only difference is I moved the can all the way back as far as it could go next to this cabinet. So it's about another, call it, I'm going to say 20 feet. I didn't measure it. It's about 20, between 15 and 20 feet from this image to this image. And look, what do you know? The same 60 pixel line, it looks like the can has shrunk by about 50%. Notice here you can see more of this cabinet versus here you can see less of the cabinet. So this can represents Miles Davis hills in the back, and when you move those hills farther, like they are in the picture, because it's 90 kilometers from this point in his video, at least, it looks like it's shrinking and getting smaller. And if somebody commented and said, oh, but in his image the mountains are let me find it, you can see some of the mountaintops are below the top of the tower, so that's also impossible. Well, no, because if I had more room, if I had 100 yards to work with and I moved this can back 100 yards, it would continue and continue and continue to decrease until it looked like it would go below the top of these clean bottles. So that was it. That took me about 10 minutes, and that was an easy debunk of this. And I commented, and I told this long comment here, and with the link to that image, and just telling him, you know, I really think he should do as he said and delete his channel.
I've been looking forward to him doing that because it's so obvious. Think about the image that I show with the lampposts, all the same size, and then the further away they go, they get smaller and smaller and smaller, and every one is far lower than the nearest one, far lower in appearance. This is a perfect example of just ballers cannot perspective.
Ranty, what's up, man? How you been?
Awesome job, Chris. Thank you very much for doing that. That's absolutely blinding.
Sure, no problem.
Did you have something you wanted to present, Runty? I noticed before Chris did that you had something that looked quite juicy.
Oh right, I was going to show you the P900. Sorry, the P1000's quality of camera of the photography it can take. I mean, this is from a video. Let me know when I'm presenting it.
Yeah, you're presenting it all right. It's enormous. These used to be on my 6-foot screen a couple of centimeters. Now they're occupying, you know, 1/6 of my screen. It's just the difference is chalk and cheese.
Well, the elevation here was about 50 feet. Now, this area here that I'm moving my cursor across is actually some buildings that are nearer to these buildings, and this in the foreground is the sand dunes. And what we're actually doing is looking down into the town of Barrow. So the real small stuff. I'll show it you on Google Earth. So that's these buildings here, in and around here, and then a bit further up the actual street houses that are right next to the estuary, etc. So I mean, these are just normal everyday houses that we're seeing. I'm going to show you I took a screenshot just now, so I'm just going to do some contrast on this to bring out the imagery. Look at these houses here that you're seeing. Down to the houses in front of these buildings. This whitey area here will be where the estuary is going to be between the two land masses. And this area in the foreground is obviously the sand dunes. So because my elevation was about 50 feet above sea level, it allowed me to get over these sand dunes, but still 80 feet should be missing. We shouldn't, you know, when we're looking at these buildings here, you shouldn't see 80 feet. So none of these buildings alone.
Just before you move across, the building that's on the right-hand side, yeah, that's probably about how big these buildings in the background, or you know, what we're going to call the background, were on the P900. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the quality is it's chalk and cheese. I mean, it's absolutely sensational.
I agree.
I love
absolutely
it. I love filming with it.
Just so much clearer, so much more detail, so much more depth. Everything about this is infinitely better than the P900. It's just chalk and cheese.
Sorry, and also I know I presented this before, but can I present? So this is the video looking at those buildings just on a clear day with no refraction. So this is just panning across, looking at the buildings of Barrow, seeing down into the houses that are, you know, beyond this landmass in the foreground, which is the sand dunes. There's the buildings. There's buildings of Barrow, and it really is. It's just a beautiful sight, beautiful video. But on the next video, when we get the refraction going on, and this is the same elevation, same camera, same height, everything was identical, same location. I think I'm around about 30 feet along the wall, so I'm just a little bit out of where I took the video from, but only about 30 feet. Same elevation though and everything, but look at the difference. You can't make anything out beneath, anything in that very critical zone here when there's got this refraction going on, just gets blurred out. You don't know what's what. You can't see anything. And we know by virtue of looking at the previous video where we're looking down into the houses that were down here, we know that it can't be this area here where they would say, oh, well, that's the middle part, that's the curvature of the Earth. Well, that can't be true, because we've just on the other video that where my cursor is now is where those buildings are, and beneath that is the sand dunes.
Yeah,
so
this
obstruction has to be.
This is atmospheric. I mean, when obviously you haven't been around recently, Ranty, but we've been talking a lot about the angle. But we've got to bear in mind the aperture and the zoom capabilities, i.e., how much you can resolve. So you can make things that were previously in the P900 in this. Let's just for round numbers say that these buildings were 100 pixels high. Well, now they're more like 500, 600, 700 pixels. Obviously a lot bigger, which means your camera can zoom in. Therefore, the diffraction limit of your camera is larger, it's bigger, it's greater than the P900, so you're going to see further. Now, all that's taken into account when you look at something from the P900 at 31 miles as opposed to 18 miles, which would be something like the Isle of Man from some Bs, because then you are on the diffraction limit of that camera when you're looking at the bottom of that island at 31 miles, but you're not going to get anywhere near the diffraction limit at these distances. So all of this interference is atmospheric only. And you're right, just by virtue of the fact that you can see to the bottom of it on a clear day, or whatever the atmospheric conditions permitted on the day that you took the previous video, which hopefully you'll go back to in a minute, it proves it instantly. You know, you can see to the bottom given the atmospheric conditions or the right circumstances.
And then what's important is when we come across and we're looking at this sort of land here. This is land that I can show you in the other video. You actually see right down to the bottom. So if I pause it there, this mast that's on the edge, we clearly see it in the next video. It's much clearer, obviously, but we see the land going all the way down. And whereas normally the bulls would say this floaty land is being loomed, this is their argument. This is looming land, you know. So whenever we see in Anthony's video, for instance, when he saw the Isle of Man, we had looming that was going on in their opinion. We said, no, we're just seeing it and we're getting a reflection underneath. Well, this is a perfect example of that, because on the next video, when we see the same area of land, I'll just pan across to it in a moment and get there. Here we go. So I'll just pause it in a second. When we see it, there we go. So there's the same area of land. There's the mast. There's where was the floaty land that was here. But obviously we're seeing right down to it, and we're seeing actually a car down here, or a truck. So yeah, this floaty land is no longer floaty land. We can just see it, and it's a clear day. So the argument is, do we believe our eyes when it's clear? Is this actually looming, or is it just?
Oh my God, you got more zoom! Oh my God, it's a pickup truck.
It is a pickup truck, yeah. I'll show it you in a second when it refocuses.
That's so. I thought, oh, that's as much as zoom as you're going to get, and then suddenly the car comes into detail. You're like, whoa, this is such an amazing camera. This is like 15 miles, right? That's 15 miles away. That car.
Yeah, it's about 15 miles. Yeah,
that's unreal. Is no one else really impressed with that? Is it just me?
There's the truck. But yeah, I think the most important part, forget the zoom, is the land. I mean, this is floaty land with the mast on that I've just showed you before. But clearly, all that inferior mirage was hiding, like all this land down here was hidden behind the inferior mirage. It would have hidden the truck if the truck was down there, because it was the same height, same height, everything.
See the houses on the left? You can see the roof and the chimney.
Yes, you can, down here.
That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that, Nathan. I'm going to back you up on that. That is fantastic, isn't it?
In a second, you zoom in even more on the car. Just see if you can catch it when you zoom in even further in a second.
It might be previous to this. I might have decided not to do that because this was freehand. So when you go into that extra zoom, it loses focus pretty quickly if you're not steady enough.
You're not on the focus lock.
Was this from 50 foot again, Ranty?
Yeah, this is from 50 foot. So I needed two observations of the same height to compare the two videos from, because one had a massive inferior mirage running through the whole image. And this is basically saying, okay, well, the inferior mirage that's hiding these buildings down here can only be atmospheric. It cannot be the water. It can't be the curvature of the earth that's doing that. That's it. That was the whole point of this video, was to show the two side by side and say, well, this is what you see on a clear day. And when you've got the inferior mirage that people say, well, the globers say this is where the curve starts. No, not at all. No, it's just blockage, atmospheric blockage. So I want to try and kill them with that argument, because, you know, observations like this is what's going to do it. You know, you can show them it on a clear day, and they say this is looming. Nonsense.
Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing that, Ranty. Absolutely awesome, as always. More so than normal, actually. Got to be honest. More the camera than you, maybe. Have you got a tripod yet?
No, but it's really difficult to try and use a tripod with the kind of work I do. You know, I'm up and down all the time, up and down, getting elevation heights. I haven't got time to faff around setting up on a tripod. You know,
heartbreaking.
It's all about grabbing the data on the go. You know,
about focus lock. You figured that one out.
Yeah, I figured that.
Oh, that
one
was
out.
a bit much.
But then again, I can't
Two stabbings in the back
Any-
after complimenting your work. Sorry, Ranty. This is actually an exceptionally level horizon, considering it was freehand. Amazing, in fact. Again,
Absolutely.
kudos, Ranty.
Ranted a curve slayer.
Playing the
You've
curve.
got
I was there again.
photography skills.
I was there again
Yeah,
at high tide. So I was doing so.
You'd
Go
almost
on.
have to get a reverse tripod so that you could have like an elevator to lower and raise your camera so that you wouldn't have to dislocate it from the tripod and then drop it to the ground. You could just like
That
a
would be cool, actually,
like a dumb waiter going up and down to the ground level. That makes sense.
Yeah, that would be cool, actually.
Because that's what I was figuring out when I was shooting across the Chesapeake Bay. When I was going down to the ground, I was thinking, you know, it would make this a whole lot easier if I had like a lazy Susan that I could put on the ground and have it be level. And that way I could just set my camera instead of on the ground. I would just be like maybe 1 or 2 inches off the ground on the lazy Susan, but then I could rotate my camera along the horizon line.
Right, and I get you. Yeah, I could try that. Look into getting one of them. This is the ferry that we film, and literally this is where it disappeared on that video that Conspiracy Cats keep saying it goes over the horizon. So I've got a video of this too, but I took a lot of still shots. Clearly, all of the boat is visible. You've got an inferior Mirage starting. Oh, hang on, I don't want to go too far. Right, so there's an inferior Mirage starting right here. And you can see that the boat itself is becoming squashed. It's all squashed. It's out of proportion. But then when I go higher up on different elevations, you can see where the boat actually gets taller itself, and its size seems to stretch out again. Again, though, the hull is in this inferior Mirage down here. And the fake waves that I've talked about before, this is the fake waves that's going on. So I was doing these elevation drops today again. And I think the highest one, this was quite a high elevation today. This was about 30 feet. And clearly you should be able to see all of that boat. And you can actually make out the hull and everything. It's but in angular size, you know, it's been stretched out again to its normal size as opposed to the original, which I took from about 6 foot. But yeah, nothing's going over the horizon at all. Nothing's going over any curve. It's just getting squashed. And I'll tell you something else. Red Pill Philosophy did a great video with those buildings. Did you see that?
I didn't. It's been mentioned in the comments by Red Pill himself, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. Tell us all about it.
Well, it's like let me just see if I can go to. Let me see if I can find his video. 1 second. I'll just get a still shot from it. Right. Philosophy. It's stunning because it absolutely backs up the compression that I see on the boat.
Yes, I agree. It's beautiful footage he took.
Is it
You
about
make it full
here?
screen.
Yeah, I will. Let me just come on. Right, okay, yeah, so I can put this on full screen. So this is Red Pill Philosophy. This is just one of his series of videos and images that he's done recently. And he's looking over at this building some distance away over the water. And can you see how each level of building starts to get squashed as it gets right down to the bottom?
That's cool.
That is obvious.
That's
brilliant,
really
isn't it?
cool.
Now, you know when I've been showing the boat compression outside the narrow viewing angle, so that would be outside the narrow viewing angle, the boat looks fine, and then the compression starts on the hull. Well, what do you know? Look at that.
Absolutely
You can actually see 1 floor, 2 floor, 3 floor, 4 floors here in this little area there. And then the rest of the floors are there.
Right. Those geometric shapes make it really easy to see. That is a clear demonstration of what's going on in that compression, isn't it?
Yeah, as
Right.
you
So
work
what
your
we
way
have
down
to,
the angle.
what we have to understand.
Sorry, go ahead, Travis.
Sorry. I'm just talking out loud. So what we have to understand is let's how many floors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 before you hit the water, right? So if we say, for instance, there's 10 floors, so that there's three more floors below the water line.
And I can actually see 1, 2, 3. There's 3 floors covering my cursor there. Literally see. I can actually see them.
Right. So what we have to understand is they're there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? In that angle that we can't resolve, those 3 floors are there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you only need a little bit of, if you had a little bit of what we used to call dirty air, but let's go back to just any kind of little obstruction or waves or anything, because it was a very clear day, obviously, this. And this is why you're able to get...
You've got an example. So there's a guy on a boat. There's a guy on a boat on the left.
Yes, there is.
Right. Well, that guy is closer to you than the buildings. And what do you know? He's obscuring 4 floors. Well, you could have a wave that's easily as high as that guy. He's on a boat. He's probably, 4 foot off the waterline at the most? Well, you could easily have a 4-foot wave that suddenly cuts off nearly 5 floors of the building because they're in the limited viewing angle and becoming squashed.
Yeah, any kind of well, like you say, you've got your limited viewing angle. I can say dirty air or any kind of obstruction or inferior mirage or anything that's in that little critical angle right here is essentially blocking out 4 floors. Now, if you just took it as a whole and you didn't look at the compression side of things, you'd say, well, it's a 10-story building. We can only see 6, so that must be curvature, yeah? But when you can actually identify, you can actually see where it's getting squashed each individual floor as it goes lower, and then you can pick out each individual floor. It just puts everything back into the perspective box. You know, the perspective box that we've been banging on about now for 3 months. You know, and the Globers aren't advancing their argument, but we're pissing all over their argument.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Red Pill Philosophy. That is so cool.
Yep. Very impressive. And the Globers can't get over obstruction. They just can't allow it to exist.
Obstruction, formerly known as curvature, is dead.
Indeed. So, good on Red Pill.
Absolutely. If it's all good by you guys, I'm going to play a video of mine. It's a couple of minutes long, but rather than me just regurgitating it now, I'm just going to play it out. Oh, I missed the beginning of it. I'll just get it back to the beginning. It's very slick. I'm going to take a brick, this breeze block, out of the corner of this house that we can see. And we're nice and close, and obviously we can see the bottom of it. But we're going to start backing away, notwithstanding that everybody understands that a brick that's in the near foreground looks bigger than a brick that's in the distance. So we take our brick out from our house, and we're going to start backing away from it when we put it in something to give it a bit of scale and context. So we've got these hay bales, and we're going to put it next to... Where do things disappear from the bottom up as they get further into the distance? Well, I would assert it's because of an angular size limitation. So we're going to take a brick, this breeze block, out of the corner of this house that we can see. And we're nice and close, and obviously we can see the bottom of it. But we're going to start backing away, notwithstanding that everybody understands that a brick that's in the near foreground looks bigger than a brick that's in the distance. So we take our brick out from our house, and we're going to start backing away from it when we put it in something to give it a bit of scale and context. So we've got these hay bales, and we're going to put it next to this one in the near foreground and then back away from it. And obviously we can still see the brick. Then we're going to move on to these 3 that are in the midground that have got a bit of the old refractive effects going on. So we'll back away from this one, and you can still just about see it. It's more than 1 pixel resolution of the camera that's taken this image, so we can still see it even when we back away, teeny tiny though it may be. And then we're going to move on to the very, very far background and place it in the band of, if you like, horizon. And it's going to be in a section that's less than a pixel. So as we back away from it, we'll see it, but when we get to the full frame of the shot, you'll see that it's less than a pixel resolution of the camera. So this unfortunate little breeze block will be too small to see. The camera just doesn't have the resolution to resolve it. So as we back away from it in this instance, we see that the brick or breeze block is just simply too small to see. Now imagine for a moment that we go back to that breeze block in its little position less than 1 pixel on the horizon, and we take the original house that we removed it from and put it on top of that brick. So we've got the breeze block, it's still less than 1 pixel, and we've got the rest of the house, and then we start backing away from that. As you can see, the brick will still disappear exactly as it did, we haven't changed it, but the house, which is a larger angular size than the brick at the bottom of the house, will still be visible. And as we back out, the bottom section of the house, which is about the size of the brick right next to it, will still have gone. Now if we move on to a different example, just so you can visualise it in a slightly different way, we've got a couple of cars, maybe one at 1/4 of a mile, maybe one at 1.5 miles, and again we'll put a breeze block next to them just to give you a bit of an idea of scale. And then what we'll do is we'll move the breeze block exactly the same way to the horizon where we have less than 1 pixel of resolution from this camera. So put it in the blurry mess, and obviously the same will happen, we back away from it and it disappears. But in this instance, after we've backed away from it and it's disappeared because its angular size is too small, we'll build a building with 500 of them, maybe a 500-foot building on top of that first breeze block, and what do you know, we can still see it, but the breeze block that disappeared because of angular size has still gone. This is the reason that things disappear from bottom up. It's a simple question of angular size versus the angle of attack, or the angle of view. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you for your patience.
Cool.
Yeah, we can all pat ourselves on the back today. We've all worked really hard. Lots of stuff to present. I love that.
Oh, there's more.
Say again, Chocolate?
I haven't. I've been asleep.
What, through the show? Can't possibly be true.
No, today.
Right, you're up, Ranty. What you got?
Well, you know Conspiracy Flaps.
I do know Conspiracy Flaps.
He's shown several times my video of the boat going over the horizon in his deluded little mind, and you know, I've tried to explain to him, as evidenced in the video itself, that it was just disappearing into the inferior mirage. I mean, the boat was being inferior mirage. You saw that I've done several presentations on it, and yet typical Glober, it's going over the curve. Well, I went again today, and in exactly the same location where the boat disappeared due to the inferior mirage. In that video, this is the same boat on its way back this time, so it still goes on the same route, and it's between the same wind turbines on its route back from the same elevation. Everything's exactly the same, and what do you know, you see all of the boat. But because we don't have any of that inferior mirage going off, well, a very small amount of it, but nothing like the motion tracked one that was done for me, you know. But yeah, look, what you got to say about that, Conspiracy Flaps? Does it look like it's going over the horizon there, Nate?
No. Yeah, got the same
Who
thing
cares
going
what
on. Haven't you?
Conspiracy
It's squashed
Flaps
towards
say?
the bottom, and again, because of the distance, everything at some stage will slip into that limited angle. So no matter how small, you're going to see that inferior mirage. The bottom of everything at that angle that you can see that boat at is, it's impossible to not be in that limited viewing angle at some stage. And where you get it, you get all the effects described by Zachary Zabala in that QED video. There's a link below. I think I've labelled it as Good Times for All Perspective video, but in the link, check it out. It explains the diffraction limit based on the aperture of the camera. It even gives you the calculations.
So yeah, there we go. I'll show you that.
Thanks.
Let me guess. I bet the Globers are saying, look at the turbines. They're still not putting that. They're not using the critical thinking to think, well, if the boat's being compressed and the buildings are being compressed, And Red Pill Philosophy's balcony floors are being compressed. I wonder what might be happening to the wind turbines. Hello? Like, we have to shake them and say to them, this is what's happening.
Ranty, does the boat ever go between the turbines? Like, as far as them?
Hang on, let me have a look on my map. One sec.
Hey,
So it'd be
shout
good
out
to
you,
have
I
a
didn't
video
know.
of the boat going towards the turbines and then going like past them to see the boat compressing as much as the wind turbines.
A big
Yeah, I
shout
think
out
it
again
goes-
to... Sorry, Ranty. I didn't know Zach was in the chat, so if you want to subscribe to Good Times for All, right-click on his... or click on the dots next to his name in the chat, and you can go and subscribe to him. Thanks, Zach.
No, it doesn't. It goes south of them. It doesn't actually go between them. I don't think they're allowed to go within like a mile of it, I think.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. Stop you using your P1000 on him, isn't it?
Probably more to do with them crashing. But
Oh, apparently my intelligence is being compressed.
Nah.
Someone in the chat said that 250 watching is the new 200, because I used to say, wow, 200 watching. We're at 230, so smash that share button, people. It's been a really good show. It's one where I'll probably stick it on a few different playlists, because there's been so much information in the last 50 minutes. Amazing, really. Hopefully it doesn't slow to a snail's pace in the last 10. We can keep up the momentum, and then I'll round out for a little break.
I would love Miles Davis to remove his channel, because this is, like I said, his what he was saying about the mountain being in the background and something in the foreground that's smaller should never look bigger than that. Well, that's ridiculous. We all know that that's ridiculous, and I'm looking forward to him actually pulling down his channel, because it's full of ridiculous nonsense, really. I mean, I wouldn't advise anybody to go and watch his stuff. He just misrepresents everybody. Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that the boards can't perspective at all.
Lead by example, don't watch this crap. I mean, obviously it's difficult for me to say that. That's my advice. I don't watch him. You know, if I don't like people, I won't watch them. But there we go. I would never show if you hadn't watched and debunked various aspects of what he claimed. So it's a difficult one to say. But by the same token, I do mean it sincerely. You know, just stop watching. If somebody, you know, rubs you up the wrong way, or you dislike their content, or even if they're slagging you off. You know, I mean, I know from experience, lots of people slag me off. I don't watch their videos, you know, unless I like them.
So on that Miles Davis video, even Wolfie had a comment something about, you know, hey, great job, fantastic, blah blah blah. So even this one of the supreme ball leapers doesn't understand perspective.
It's embarrassing. I mean, I'm showing a few lampposts now. They're all the same height, and it's perspective. You know, I mean, what part don't they get that as things go further away, they get smaller?
Just strawman the hell out of him, right? Reproduce his video with the exact same points, but make the assertions he makes in reference to a globe using pictures like this, and say, this isn't possible on a globe, and get him to, you know, give you the obvious comeback. It's just perspective, so you can have his words and shove them right back in his face. You know, slap him around a bit with his own words when he points out that this is perfectly possible. If the world's a sphere and you beg the question and have a radius value, but you'd have to obviously explain it with perspective, something which they absolutely omit and have hijacked in order to create this balliness of a ball that we don't have. The Earth's obviously and observably flat.
Well, this image is just about to kill him. Brightness and contrast. So here we go. So what have we got in the distance, Nath? What's there in the distance?
Oh, the wind turbines.
And what's this in the foreground?
A dude.
Is a human, and he's 5 times the height of the 350 or 400 foot wind turbines in the distance.
It's impossible on a globe because you don't include perspective.
No.
This is an impossible globe observation. You can only account for this with perspective, and you omit it when you do any calculations on anything. So you can beg the question, assume an Earth radius, and tell people that obstruction is curvature. Bad luck, Globers. It's been a bad week to be a Glober. It really has.
It's been terrible, isn't it?
How is that? How is that actually happening? Because we're obviously seeing at least 300 feet of that turbine, no matter what they say about it. So how come this dude in the foreground is 4 times the size? Oh dear me, Miles Davis is going to pull down his channel and become a flat earther.
Maybe he's a 300-foot guy.
Do we actually want him? He's a flat earther.
Well, won't they just say it's the curvature they're bending around the ball, so it just looks like.
No.
But this is the point where they go around to you and say that you've got to go higher.
Like on this image, you mean? No, because you can actually pick out the turbine blades on this one, so we know that we're seeing probably 3/4 of these turbines at least. I mean, I could go and take this same image right now. I could literally go and drive, get in my car, and take an image just like this. And, you know, I'd like to see him try and argue that something in the foreground can't be bigger than something in the background, even if it's smaller. It's just not. He's going to lose his channel if he's a man of his word.
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do. But if you liked it, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!